Hey folks, everything doing so well? I thought this article was pretty interesting. Check it out. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But the Army of Islam would be world's biggest military. Turkey hints at forming a 5 million strong alliance against Israel. You talk about Gog Magog. You talk about the desire to push Israel into the sea. Look at this map. This is from memory. A depiction of an army of Islam against Israel published in the Turkish newspaper Yeni Safak, courtesy of memory, when Turkey's semi-official newspaper called for urgent action in forming a 57-nation army of Islam to besiege and attack Israel. And you can see how they are no longer a real part of NATO. A suggestion undoubtedly approved, with at least a wink and a nod by President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. It would signal the possible intent to create the largest military force on the planet, one nearly as large as the total population of the Jewish state. The report came just ahead of a summit of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation and was published under the headline, "What if an army of Islam was formed against Israel?" It was translated by the Middle East Research Institute. Look at this, all the countries surrounding. You see Israel's right in the center there, the tiny red landmass. This is what all the Islamic nations surrounding Israel, this is what they want to get rid of because they don't have enough land already. They hate the Jews. It wasn't a rhetorical question about creating an army of Islam. It was actually a suggestion to combine the military forces of all Islamic countries to overwhelm the Israeli army. Now, they already tried this in 1967. A number of Islamic nations attempted to overwhelm and preemptively strike Israel, although Israel got wind of that and preemptively struck them, namely the air forces in Egypt, and won that war, and that was a hugely miraculous win there. On December 12, 2017, ahead of the summit of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation in Istanbul, the Turkish Daily, which is close to Erdogan and his ruling party, published a title called An Urgent Call for Action. So it speaks of the 57 member states and what would make up a 5 million strong army to go against Israel. In the report, Israel is described as the outpost of the new crusade and a dagger in the heart of Islam. If the OIC member states unite and form a joint military force, it will be the largest army in the world. These countries' total population is 1.6 billion. Number of soldiers in active service in these countries is at least just over 5 million. Their overall military defense budget of 174 billion is also worthy of emphasis. As for Israel, it is significantly inferior, the report says. You can see their hatred for Israel. The population of this country, which attempted to occupy Jerusalem while surrounded by Muslim states, is 8 million, which attempted to occupy. I think they did occupy Jerusalem. They did take it. They even took the Temple Mount, but they gave it back after the 1967 war. Incredible. The number of soldiers in active service in the Israeli occupation forces is 160,000, and Israel's defense budget is 15.6 billion. I think they should be be reviewing what happened historically in the 1967 war, where Israel's weak, small army, quote unquote, destroyed the Islamic nations gathering to take Israel out and push them into the sea. Well, the report suggested the formation of a Jerusalem task group to take steps to form an Islamic army that would besiege Israel in a possible military operation. The first step is expected to involve 250,000 soldiers. It would include 500 tanks, 100 warplanes, and 500 attack helicopters, 50 warships, and submarines. Interactive maps show information on specific bases and operations. Turkey will serve as an important headquarters during the operation. Interesting. Due to its land, air, and naval infrastructures, the Turkish army, which carried out Operation Euphrates Shield in 2017 with great success, is now ranked the world's 7th strongest army and the second largest army among NATO powers, although they're really not They shouldn't be part of NATO anymore. They should be kicked out. Turkey has approximately 4,000 tanks, 1,000 warplanes, and other aircraft. Its navy made significant progress with 194 vessels at its disposal. So a pretty interesting article about the Army of Islam, and a report that is specifically saying that basically making fun of Israel's numbers and military force and how much they spend, and basically encouraging and requesting that the Islamic nations get together and say that they're saying within themselves, look, we have plenty of people, we have plenty of money, we have plenty of war implements and weapons of war. Why don't we get together and take Israel out? This is going to be their second time, in the last 100 years to take Israel. Well, I guess the third time since the start of the nation to take Israel out. They're doing whatever they can. They want to bring their weapons of war together and put them together. The one thing that they're not paying attention to is the fact that God is on Israel's side, and that's why Israel won in 1967. It was because of God and a miraculous intervention to give Israel the strength to preemptively strike the warplanes in Egypt that were gathering for a preemptive strike on Israel. So Israel knows this is coming, and God's going to not allow this to happen. Israel will be overwhelmed in the last days when the battle of Gog and Magog happens, Ezekiel 38. And God will come back and miraculously intervene and show his power to the world, not just to Israel, but to the world. And it will be a miraculous event, and no one will be able to say that it wasn't a miraculous event at that point in time, because for some reason the U.S. will be taken out of power, out of superpower status. They will not have the ability to support Israel with their military at that point in time, likely from an economic collapse. This is a WorldNet Daily. You can check the article out. It's pretty fascinating, to be honest, when you line this up with Bible prophecy. So I'll leave it there, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.